your motorsport and motoring radio show. Now on 88.5 FM, The Valley Comes Alive. And podcasting across iTunes and talkandpower.com.au.
This is the Talking Power Podcast, episode 218. I'm your host, Nick DeChembra, joined with co-host over there, Michelle Morrison. Michelle, thanks for joining us.
Hello, Nick. Thank you for having me.
We'll get stuck into the latest news in Formula One results from Austria. Lando Norris taking the win there, Oscar securing second place, and Charles Leclerc taking home third spot. Alice Buckley has become the first female winner in TA2 Muscle Car Series. She was also the first to get a pole position, first female to get pole as well. She actually won not one race, but actually two, race 3 and race 4 of the TFH Hire TA2 Muscle Car Series over in Queensland. So congratulations to Alice on that. In NASCAR, racing in the front of his home crowd, Hendrick Motorsports' Chase Elliott stole victory from Ford's Brad Keselowski on the last lap. We call him the New Zealander Shane Van Gisbergen was running well until late in the race and spun. We also need to mention congratulations to Shane Van Gisbergen, who won 2 weeks ago earlier in Mexico through the Stadium Street Circuit. So congratulations to SVG there. In NASCAR truck, Cam Waters, Australia's Cam Waters, came out the other side with a late wild race restart at Lime Rock Park to claim 5th spot in the Thor Sport Racing NASCAR Truck Series. That's in his F truck there. So congratulations to Cam Waters there. And a couple of weeks ago, but we haven't recorded since, the 24 Hours of Le Mans has been run and won. First place was the AF course, a Ferrari driven by Phil Hansard, Robert Kubica and Yiffy Ye in the Ferrari 499P. In second place was the Porsche Penske Motorsport, driven by Australia's Matt Campbell, Kevin Estrie and Lawrence Van Thul, and that was in the Porsche 963 4.6 litre turbo V8. And in third place in hypercar was the Ferrari AF course, James Calado, Anthony Giovinazzi and Alessandro Pierguidi in the Ferrari 499P Ferrari 499 3-litre V6 turbo. So congratulations to them at Le Mans. And then finally in the news, first examples of the 2025 Kia Tasman Ute have arrived in Australia's showrooms. I saw one just the other day actually. There are limited numbers ahead of a ramp up for deliveries next month. So that's what's been happening. Anyway, Michelle, how are you going?
Busy as always, but it's been 3 weeks now since our last recording.
It has been 3 weeks, and I must put my hand up saying I caused the delay. I wasn't feeling the greatest last week. I actually ended up with influenza A. I don't know how I got that, but I ended up with it, and it knocked me about a bit.
Look, it gets us all eventually, but I'm glad that you took the time to rest up.
Yeah.
And it just gives us more news to talk about today.
It does. And unfortunately, I don't know if Simon's fallen ill of that as well, but he couldn't make it tonight. He said he's not feeling the best, so speedy recovery to Simon. And no doubt he'll be listening, and Nicole will be listening as well. Look after Simon for us, Nicole, and hopefully he'll be better soon. Hey, Michelle, I know you had a really busy week. I couldn't make it there, unfortunately. I wasn't feeling the best, but give us a quick rundown on the morning tea at Benzine Detailing.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. Obviously the weather, it was looking like it wasn't going to be a great day weather-wise, and I was keeping close eye on my phone, thinking that the event was going to be called potentially. Being there, I've been there 2 years previously, just showing my support, but this was my first year being able to bring my tea bucket out, and I think we spoke about it briefly on the last recording, but being that my maintenance was a bit delayed this season, when Johnny asked if we'd be able to bring the tea bucket down, it was an immediate yes, but so many other cars and hot rods down there, being so openly exposed with their engines, I wasn't too sure how the event was going to turn out. Johnny announced on Friday night, rain, hail or shine, will be there. It will be happening. And so I thought, great, me too.
Yep.
You know, all in all, the event is being held for the Cancer Council, biggest morning tea, and you can't possibly complain about the inconveniences of a bit of wet weather when you're going against what people with cancer are fighting with every day.
Good point. Very good point you make there, Michelle.
Yeah. Well, you know, we just used our initiatives and did what we were able to do, which I completely understand that not everyone that has been there to show their cars before are able to do like we were. But I just brought one of my drag racing pit tents down, and we actually left the altered on the trailer just to have a easy getaway if need be. But you know, it's an open trailer, so no views were blocked or anything like that. And we just popped the shade up and parked the trailer underneath there. But when I first came down Enterprise, right? Is it Enterprise? What's the street there?
Yeah, he's Enterprise, yes.
Enterprise.
No, he's Prosperity.
Prosperity. Yeah. When I first drove down the street and saw the amount of cars already parked up, I was amazed. I was thinking like, wow, because, you know, not only did I think that there would be a restricted number of cars that were able to come up and show, but I did think that it was going to impact the amount of people as well being able to come out and show their support, being in that weather. But there was so many people. There was so many people there. There was still a great number of cars that were out on display. But Johnny's workshop was packed. It was packed shoulder to shoulder. And I think he'd be fine and happy with us to announce the race total. He did announce on his Facebook only a couple of months ago that for the first time that they announced how much they raised, and last year they raised $12,000 at the event, and it was just absolutely amazing to see that support was still so strong, and raised $11,000 this year at this event with that lower number, and obviously people being a bit hesitant or restricted to come out in the wet weather, maybe fighting colds like yourself, to still bring in $6,000 over their aimed target.
That's right. He was only aiming for 5 and got 11. I was gobsmacked, but I was and I wasn't. When I think about it, like, Johnny's built up such a reputation for himself, and Angela, of course, as well. So I think the community really loves to get together and support that event for them as well. So was surprised, yes, but not really. When I think about it, I think, well, it's Johnny and Angela. I think what's not to love? So you know, it was great to see. I think he did a magnificent job. And he always said to me, he goes, this year we'll just take it easy. Angela was actually away prior to this event, so that's why he didn't go into heavy organising too much, because Angela was in Italy for 3 weeks. Yeah,
well, because I think that in the previous years it was slightly earlier, maybe at the beginning of June.
Correct.
And I said to Trent, because I think the last 2 years it was both forecasted to rain, and then it ended up being a beautiful sunny morning.
It was.
And I said to Trent, Johnny's gotten pretty lucky for the last 2 years, but I think he's pushing it a bit close to try and get a third. But the rain was minimal. It really was. They were forecasting hail. That didn't happen. The rain was minimal. Usually, you know, for those that haven't seen the photos or haven't been down to the event itself, there's about, would you say, 8 units in that area there?
I think there might even be 12, actually. I think there might be 6 on each side. And so they've got your entry gates going into industrial area workshop, and basically all businesses are involved and aware that it's happening, and that area is just reserved off for the car show that's put on for Johnny and Benzine's. And, you know, of course, you've got everyone walking around looking at these cars, with a smaller number of cars being out there on display, and with a bit of the wet weather, it just had everyone
in Johnny's workshop, and that just like seeing that support around him, just shoulder to shoulder, and just the conversations and spirit between everyone there, it was really great. And Joey was down there taking some photos.
Oh yeah, he done some magnificent shots, I saw.
Yeah, and got some really cute candid ones of my girls, just like chatting up conversations. And I'm like, they only just met that person that day, and then they're just making friends like they always do. And it just, it's such a great family, such a great cause, and just the car community. I love it. It's really good.
It is awesome. It is a great community to be part of. Can you disclose your news?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think this would be a perfect time to segue in and give us the big news that you shared. Well, you kind of shared with us before. I heard from someone else that you were thinking, and then but you did mention to us.
I didn't share with you, did I? No, because I haven't seen you since
no,
that it all
that's
started
right.
happening. So are we surprised there's a rumour mill? No. It doesn't take long to get around. But so with Johnny's morning tea on the Monday, we slowly get back to normality, and at 4 p.m. on the Tuesday afternoon, NDRC announced that at the Nitro Championships in Sydney, which is going to be held on the 23rd of August, they are going to be having a Aeroflow All-Stars Sportsman Series Championship round. And it is the top 8 of the championship are invited to race and compete with a total prize pool of $25,000 between all brackets, and I got invited. I was number 4 for the NDRC championship. So you get that invitation, and I actually saw the announcement on Facebook before seeing my emails, and it's amazing the excitement just to be recognised as being able to be there in the top 8 and have that recognition. And, there was no indication that this event was going to be happening. So then to see it come through to your inbox and think, this is in 2 months' time.
I was going to ask you that, because I don't remember seeing it either till now. So it was kept under wraps or sort of...
and I checked my inbox, I checked my junk mail, and I checked Google to see whether there was anything kind of mentioned of it before. And no, from everything that I saw, and unless I've been out of the loop from other avenues, it was announced as it was sent to the invitation, the invited competitors. And, just being here on the West Coast in the off-season when my maintenance has already been delayed.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
So you're going to crush in the maintenance now, then between now and the 23rd?
We are going to split it up.
Yep.
So there are things that we will do partially now that we can access without taking everything apart. And then once it's back home, we will do the complete pull apart.
Right.
My car, when we say maintenance, it is maintenance. There's nothing that needs to be fixed, that needs to be repaired. It's just maintaining the car so then we don't get to that stage of needing it. There's things that we know that need to be done before it gets to that point. And then realistically, the pull apart is just to have a thorough check.
Yep.
It does... having that 2-month time frame to make the decision, and we actually had to accept our invitation within 5 days. It definitely puts the pressure on, because what we're now doing is, I'm going for starters. So I'm going. It was we simply had to.
It's too good of an opportunity to pass up.
Yeah, and I'm so lucky, because I say we had to, and I emphasis on the we, because I'm very mindful, and I don't want to be selfish. I've got a young family, I've got a husband, and this is for me. And I'm very fortunate that we all share and enjoy it together. But, you know, of course, I have my initial thoughts that come to my mind that fulfill my enjoyment and my ideas, and then you start to kind of settle down and think the bigger picture. But Trent just matched my first initial thoughts as well, and he just said, we have to go. We have to go. We have to make it work, and we'll make it work. And, you know, I'm so fortunate that I've got a fantastic sponsor with Denani Hot Shots on board with me again for next season. And so it's just going to be making it all possible. So we're heading east.
Sydney, here we come.
Yeah.
That's awesome news. I was really happy to hear that, and when you confirmed it, you're going tonight, and when you spoke to me earlier, I'm stoked to hear that.
Yeah.
It's good news.
It definitely puts the pressure on. We're going to be ordering some parts now so that they've arrived by the time the car returns. So it definitely gives the bank account a bit of a hit when you're planning that trip and travel expenses, as well as ordering parts, then having that outlay be within the same time frame, so that it's ready for when you return. And I'm really excited for this event. I hope that there is more. I just do wish that there was a little bit of an indication that it was going to happen, and maybe it didn't come to their minds. But, you know, previously when I travelled and competed over east, we would travel from Perth. We did Adelaide in 2015, Adelaide International. In the years prior, Adelaide International wasn't running, but we would go from end of Perth season to Adelaide to Sydney and down to Queensland, and you would get 3 races within your trip across. Yeah. You know, before Adelaide, you'd still get to and contend for that championship. Being how monumental this event is, being recognised as that top 8, like, that's so huge. Yeah. It's so hard to turn that opportunity down. I just wish I knew that it was going to happen earlier, because it might have changed our thoughts and plans of travelling to the other NDRC rounds, being Adelaide, Sydney, and Nitro Champs, and then for the championship final at Willowbank. Yeah. But
anyway,
Darwin's the week after.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Darwin is the week. That's right. It's Nitro up north is the week after. Yeah. It's not that far, Sydney to Darwin. Yeah. You do it easy.
Yeah, I know. But the car needs maintenance.
Okay. All right.
We can't have it all.
Have a big car park at Darwin. As soon as you start to... Well,
I said to Trent, you know, if we go from Sydney to Darwin to Alice, down to the Bend, park the car at my auntie and uncle's house in Adelaide, because the Bend's on like the 5th of October. And it's like, you know, park the car for a month in Adelaide. And he said to me, just a few days ago, you were wondering how we were going to make it possible just to make it across to Sydney. And now you're talking about adding in an extra 3 rounds. And I was like, okay, bring me back to reality.
I know, but yeah, I get your point, because you're there and you want to make the most of it as well. Yeah. So I get what you're saying. There's only a joke, Trent, if you're listening. Didn't mean you had to go work on the car in the car park in Darwin.
But if you want to put any more thought into it.
Hidden Valley. Oh, that's great news anyway. No, it's really good to hear. Speaking of Hidden Valley, the Supercars were up there last weekend. It was a clean sweep from Brock Feeney. Perfect weekend I've got here, and in question mark. 3 poles, 3 race wins. Can't beat that. It's very, very good results from Brock Feeney in the 888 team. Crowd numbers were down significantly. I wanted to know your thoughts. Yeah. This was the first year they didn't have Nitro up north or auguring in with that event. So on the Saturday night. And some people say that had an effect on crowd numbers.
Yeah, so I did have a little bit of a search through for some statistics on this, and of course, so Nitro up north last year, it was run just as the exhibition.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Previously, they've had it as part of the championship series.
Correct.
And other bracket racing, as well as some other Group 1 classes there. So this year, Nitro up north is being ran at the end of August. And we had 36,000 spectators.
Correct,
this year, which was down from 40,000 last year.
Yep.
Now, the huge factor that comes into it is 47% of those spectators are from interstate.
Yeah.
Last year, for that 40,000, 36% was interstate. If that was the reason for this drop in numbers, and realistically, in my opinion, regardless, it only makes sense to be able to really utilise that tourism and those spectators that are travelling in to have these events not necessarily ran at the same time,
but
week closer apart? Together.
1 week apart?
Yeah, 100%.
So we spend the week up there, go do some croc sightseeing on the Monday and Tuesday.
And that's the perfect, like, tourism bubble that you've created there, because you've got your 2 motorsport events on either side of the week, and then what are they going to be doing Monday through to Thursday?
Yeah,
they're going to be going and seeing the other sites and tourism hotspots of Darwin and Northern Territory. It seems obvious, but I'm not sure.
There was a time where they were 1 week apart as well, and I don't know what the crowd numbers were then, but it wasn't that long ago they were 1 week apart. I think it's a no-brainer. I love the fact that we auger the 2 sports together, and that can be a week apart as well. I still like the fact that we bring the 2 sports together. I love Darwin. I've never been myself, but I've been up that end of Australia this time of the year, and there's nothing better than getting away from, this 5 degrees in the morning and heading up there, and it's a beautiful 32,
I think, and I praise and very often share my opinion on cross promotion of motorsport and how much I think that it should be done. I think there would be a huge number of spectators that are fans for V8 supercars as well as drag racing.
Yeah.
how do I say this? So if you were a team for the spectator engagement, I really do think that the drags put on a better show for engagement. And for what's happening on track, that all comes down to the spectator and how they watch the race realistically. Because it's a different game. But for spectator engagement and just doing those fire-ups in the pits, we've seen the crowds. Like, if then you're this multi-million-dollar V8 supercar racing team, the crowd's going to be got to be over at Top Fuel, aren't they?
Yeah.
I could understand why maybe the V8 supercars would want to have it as a separate spectacle and therefore have it at a different event. But I think that both sports could benefit greatly if it was tied together as a like shared organizer. And I'm pulling something off my memory here. Is it organised by the government?
This particular event, the promoter is actually the government, or it's not the supercars per se.
Yeah.
So this event is run differently to other supercar events, and other drag racing events as well.
Yeah. So, in that aspect, the government could really tie in with doing like a speed week type event, having the V8 supercars, having your drag racing. You might even fit in some other little shows during the week to then tie it all in together. But it seems like a missed opportunity on that front. But I don't know. Not sure the reason why.
Yeah.
But I think I've heard from the drag racing point of view, the Nitro Up North is a fantastic event, and yes, I would love to go.
Yeah, me too. That makes two of us.
Trent.
Three of us. Probably
Trent,
four, Simon as well.
Is three Trent? No.
Hey, Parity raised its head again as well. Looking at the speed trap data, the Mustangs were 2 kilometres an hour down on the opposition. So halfway through the weekend, they made a makeshift heat shield on the exhaust, and tending to mimic the skull cap that's used on the Camaros. That was implemented. I don't think it had a great deal. I don't think it had any effect whatsoever. And I think it's silly that we're making changes halfway through a race weekend. But anyway, that's just my view. The other thing I noticed, TV ratings. I always like to check the TV ratings. Mm-hmm. Poor, to say the least. Ranked for the Sunday. Qualifying ranked 26, and the race ranked 27th. That's for the whole day. In terms of numbers, that's on the Sunday, and on the Saturday the race ranked 14th and 20th for the Saturday. So there's like TV shows that you would never think of in your wildest dreams that are ahead of that. So it's a bit of a worry. I
know you have done some TV rating stats on here before, but you might need to jog my memory. Is that just live, or does that include streaming as well?
No, that's just live. That's live, yeah. So that didn't include streaming numbers, no. Yeah,
it would be interesting to see, because those numbers, it is poor. You'd definitely expect it to be higher than that.
Yeah.
But I wonder if
so what you're saying is the consumption of that sport may lean towards streaming as opposed to that's a good point. I hadn't thought that, but
even just being able to watch it live and for how long the day goes for. When we have these services now that you can rewatch the highlights, that you can skip across the classes that you have less interest in, or simply just watch it once you have come home from the school friend's birthday party you've had to attend.
That's a good point.
So I'd hope that number would creep up higher once those streaming numbers are taken into consideration, because otherwise that is a bit concerning, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. Formula One from Austria, Red Bull Ring. Finally, I wrote here in my notes, we've finally seen Oscar Piastri act like an actual human. He swore during qualifying, missing out on getting his fast lap done when Esteban Ocon spun on the last corner, that red flag in the session. So he ended up qualifying second. To me, it was an enthralling race from out the front, with the two McLarens going toe-to-toe. Max Verstappen was out at the second corner, got taken out.
By Kimi, that was a very...
Yeah, a bit silly, wasn't it?
Oh, like, looking at that, Kimi came in for the corner, pulled out on the right, came in for the corner to take it tight, and then just locked it right up.
Yeah.
And it just happened instantly, didn't it? But it's like he just tried to punch the gap, but people in front of him were already turning close in. It was how, but he moved so fast. I was like, it was tough to see. But I did see a quote of Max's response floating on my Facebook today, which he responded nicely to, saying, we've all done it.
Yeah.
You saw him because he's had a few words to Kimi afterwards, which seemed amicable, but then they walked back to their pits with some distance between them, didn't they?
They certainly did. It was funny, Kimmy kept his helmet on as well.
Yes, I noticed, and you can only imagine the emotion that's on his face there.
I want to know what you think of Oscar's engineer. So at lap 21 or 22, Oscar had a real red-hot crack at Lando and really had probably a 2% chance of that coming off. Luckily, they didn't touch. Oscar ended up locking it up, and luckily he missed smashing into Lando. But Oscar's engineer, Tom Stella, got on the radio on about lap 22 after that incident and said to him, feedback from the pit wall, the manoeuvre in turn 4... with the lock-up was too marginal. We can't do that again. As a driver, what do you think that message would have done? I don't think that was necessary.
No, I think as the intent was likely to calm things down and avoid any further risk, and of course, like after we just saw with Kimmy, but whether that had gotten back to Oscar and Lando at that point, who knows? But I think definitely with the kind of sternness of the message and timing and tone, I think it could have disrupted his rhythm quite a bit.
I reckon it did.
Yeah, I think Oscar, he handled the situation maturely. You asked me before whether the apology was needed, and when, like you said, he's human, he swore. Don't you find that you meet some people that just, they'll say sorry to anything and everything, and you're like, you don't need to do that. I do think, however, that I do see it as respectful, though, to give that response.
Yep.
But Oscar, he was racing hard and he was staying within the limits, but these are learning moments, and as Oscar gains his experience, he'll strike the right balance between assertiveness and team expectations. But taking the edge off his racing instincts too much could be counterproductive. After all, that fighting spirit is part of what makes him so promising.
Yeah.
And I think, it's something that I've always seen, particularly in the earlier years with Max Verstappen, when he was racing, he's with Red Bull, but racing with Daniel Ricciardo, you started to really notice the balls that Max had with the risks and he was taking. And I say risks, but it's just not second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
And I experience it when I'm racing as well. You have to be so confident in your decision that when you start to really have a bit of hesitancy and start second guessing, that's then when you really start to pull back and you lose that.
Yeah.
You lose that fuel and that momentum. And I really could see it. I really could see it when Max and Daniel were teammates. It was like Daniel had some bad crashes, had some, bad results. And you could see that hesitancy and that it just wasn't taking opportunities. And so being that we've already seen this really kind of softer demeanour from Oscar, with the lack of swearing and, he's young.
Yeah.
He's young, and you just don't want to dim that fight and fire.
Yeah. Yep.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I just... I think that could have been handled a little bit better, but anyway, that's McLaren's call, certainly not mine. I also mentioned Gabriel Bortoleto in the Sauber and Nico Hulkenberg, for that matter, coming in 8th and 9th in those cars that are absolute I don't know, junk. It's an incredible effort for those guys to come in 8th and 9th, both of them scoring points, so congratulations to them. And big congratulations to Lando. Showed everyone a clean set of hills at that race. And we're looking forward, cannot wait for the Ferraris to win at the British Grand Prix next week. It's always my favourite time of the year, the British Grand Prix.
Calling it, are you?
I love it when Ferrari wins. That's happened a few times, and you see all the spectators all angry and bitter and twisted. But it'll be
if Lewis will bring the win
that's
home.
Right, yeah,
and maybe he can change Britain's
view.
perspective on Ferrari then.
So can't wait for that. And whenever it's Silverstone, the week after, we normally have the Goodwood Festival Speed, so cannot wait for that. It's my favourite time of the year. It's a bit later this year. That's always normally in June, but anyway, it'll be in July this year. Anyway, looking forward to that. All right, NHRA.
NHRA. So we do have 2 events to cover since we last recorded. So starting off, we had the American Rebel Light Virginia NHRA Nationals held from the 20th until the 22nd at Virginia Motorsport Park.
Sorry, my apologies to our listeners.
I didn't realise it was on there. There we go.
Thank you.
Just make sure. Yeah.
Got the notes here.
And in Top Fuel, it's not often that the winner doesn't cross the stripe first, but that's exactly what happened in Top Fuel. Sean Langdon laid down a blistering 3.905 second pass at 322 mile per hour with an 0.67 reaction time to defeat Justin Ashley. Or so we thought.
Ashley launched clean with an 0.55 light after hazing the tyres and banging the blower. He posted a 4.167 at 227 mile an hour and was originally credited with the runner-up spot. However, a post-race tech inspection found Langdon in violation of NHRA rules, which was disqualified due to missing a minimum number of 12 bolts on the bell housing inspection cover. Ashley was awarded the win, his first for the season, and a big boost heading into Newark.
Quite surprising, that one. I did see a post afterwards with Sean Langdon addressing that, and he said that the bolts were there before the pass, but must have rattled loose during. And he said, that's our fault. We should have checked that they were tight.
Yep.
I don't know how that wouldn't get found before the post-race inspection, though. Surely you would be able to find 12 bolts on the track immediately after the run.
You'd think so, especially bell housing inspection cover bolts.
So I'm not too sure about that, but it's nice that they acknowledged and took their ownership anyway.
Question without notice. Why is that? Why is that just a safety thing, having 12 bolts, or is there something more?
Oh, to be honest, I don't even know how many standard on there.
Yeah, we probably need to check with someone on that. But I was curious to know why there's a ruling for 12 minimum of 12 bolts.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll take that on further notice.
Yeah. And if you're trying to stop Austin Prock in funny car, you better bring something special, because right now he's flat out running the table. Prock faced off against his John Force Racing teammate Jack Beckman in the final. Prock cut a solid 0.7 light and thundered down the 1,000 feet in 4.061 seconds at 318 mile per hour. Beckman was 0.75 at the hit and was side by side with Prock, crossing the stripe just behind Prock, running a 4.071 second pass at 305 mile per hour, resulting in Prock's margin of victory only being 0.15 of a second.
Don't want to take anything away from Austin Prock on that one there, but he was lucky to get into the final. I don't know if you saw the semi against him and Bob Tasker Jr. He actually lost the race, but Bob Tasker crossed the centre line. Oh yeah. So, yes.
I think, I didn't see that, but was that what then Bob Tasker came out afterwards and is saying, they're getting rid of the chassis? He said that's the last time. He's made a statement about, he doesn't have much faith in this chassis, and he seems to be pointing at that for wrongdoing. So, I'm wondering whether that was what brought on that response from him.
In Pro Stock Motorcycle, Gage Herrera has made Virginia Motorsports Park his personal playground. The defending event winner returned and made it 2 for 2, capturing back-to-back Virginia national titles in Pro Stock Motorcycle. In the final, he lined up against Angie Smith. Herrera was off the line with an 0.65 reaction time and ripped off a 6.826 second run at 198 mile an hour. Smith had the start line advantage with an 0.42 and was clocked at 6.853 at 296 mile an hour. A strong run, but not strong enough to catch the reigning champ. Interesting, there was no pro mod at this, no pro stock.
No pro stock. Yeah. No pro stock for Virginia, but they did have pro mod.
They did.
And in pro mod, J.R. Gray was all business and delivered another win on his impressive 2025 campaign. The final, however, was anything but routine. He matched up against Dmitry Samarukov, who unfortunately lost control after launch and tagged the wall, but thankfully walked away uninjured. Gray, who clocked 5.787 at 251 mile per hour, took the win and extended his season tally. It wasn't the way anyone wanted it to go down, but credit to Gray, he's proving to be both fast and fearless this season.
This event was extremely hot from all accounts, and this was the if we recall, it's been a year since John Force had his crash. It was at this event 1 year ago, so very warm from what I could see.
Yes, they were. The cars were struggling in qualifying to get some passes down. It didn't seem like many were being too successful there or learning from the passes in front of them. And then recapping one of the hottest stops on the NHRA Tour, the 2025 Summit Racing Equipment Nationals from Norwalk, Ohio, was ran over the weekend. The weather was wild, the ice cream was cheap, and the racing was flat out fierce. From jaw-dropping hole shots to major title implications, here is everything you missed or want to relive at Summit Motorsport Park.
In Top Fuel, Justin Ashley, he was officially on a roll. He's coming off chaos of Richmond. He came into Newark with something to prove and delivered in style. In the final, Ashley matched up against veteran Clay Milligan. Both drivers were locked in. Ashley was quick on the tree, an 0.27, that's incredible, and laid down a 3.931 second at 322 mile an hour. Milliken left the start line with an 0.84 light, and both cars stayed neck and neck until the finish line, with Clay running a 3.922 at 322 mile an hour. But Ashley's edge at both ends resulted in a whole shot win. Back-to-back event victories with some serious championship momentum.
And there is no slowing down Austin Prock in 2025. The funny car Phenom bagged his fourth win of the season in Norwalk, where he outgunned Matt Hagan in a brute force final. Prock's reaction time was a 0.69 and he powered to a 4.06 at 318 mile per hour. Hagan was a 0.05 on the tree and stayed close with a 4.099 at 309 mile per hour, but just couldn't match Prock's pace through the back half. Prock now extends his championship lead, and let's be real, he's the man to beat in funny car right now.
That was a good old-fashioned spanking, really, to be honest. Because I know Hagan's reaction time was better, but you look at that mile an hour, he got pasted.
Yeah.
He got pasted pretty hard on that one. In Pro Stock, Reed rises. In the Pro Stock final was Corey Reed achieved a significant milestone by defeating Dallas Glenn. Reed's, that is incredible, 0.12 reaction time with a 6.648 second pass at 207 mile an hour, edged out Glenn's 0.39 light and tyre shaking 15.852. The victory marks Reed's first win of the season and a pivotal moment in his Pro Stock career.
Yeah, how fantastic is that? And with that 0.12 reaction time, you know, Double O Dallas, I think Corey Reed would have had that pressure on and knew that he would have had to cut a good line. But to see that he was able to really earn that victory with his faster ET as well.
Dallas's tyre shake was quite phenomenal, really aggressive. So put him out.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
It does.
And in Pro Stock Motorcycle, it was a thrilling final with John Hall facing off against Richard Gadsden. Hall launched with a 0.82 reaction time, propelling his Buell down the track with a 6.88 second pass at 196 mile per hour. Gadsden was close behind him with an 0.39 light, clocking a 6.967 second pass at 195 mile per hour. Despite Gadsden's strong performance, Hall's ET secured him the victory.
That was a wild race as well, that one.
It's tight, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And for NHRA, next we have coming up. What is coming up for NHRA? Well, it's just about to actually line up with some IHRA scheduling as well. So it's going to be interesting to see some of our entries for the next race, which is at Pacific Raceway, the Northwest Nationals.
Yep.
In Washington.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what entries we have through on that one. That's on the 18th until the 20th of July.
Can't wait for that. It means that the US Nationals, it's normally September, sorry. So, no, it's not that close yet. It's still first weekend of September.
Yeah, I
Still a while
was
away.
Trying to think. I thought my mind was in August actually, but maybe it was like the last weekend of August when I was there. I saw my first confirmed entry. Admittedly, I haven't looked, but it did come up on my social media that Krista Baldwin has entered for the IHRA Nitro. The first IHRA Nitro round. So she is granddaughter of the Greek.
Yes.
And competing in Top Fuel, and Spencer Massey has been piloting her Top Fuel dragster from time to time across this season. But yeah, she'll be stepping back into the driver's seat and competing for that IHRA event. So we got one.
There's one. It starts with one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Can't wait for that. Michelle, excuse me, any Motorplex news that we can share? I don't know of anything at the moment.
Yeah, when you ask if we can share, there's nothing that I have official news on. The all drag racing events, including Will Pass Wednesday, they're all put on hold at the moment while there is that damage on the track.
We can say
impacting.
that.
Yeah, that's just going to impose too much risk for safety to have any cars go down there at the moment. So to be able to really put a stamp down on how serious and the potential dangers of it, can't race any higher performance cars, but not even racing street cars down there at the moment either. So. Yeah, we are just going to have to wait and see, but Gavin did promise us a visit, and so maybe we can have him on shortly and he can give us some news directly.
We need to have Gavin on in the next episode or two, so yeah, definitely need to make that happen. I've got here coming events. You know what I've missed out is the
Nitros.
I've missed out the All-Star event, the 23rd of August.
Well, yes, but you've missed out the Nitro.
I've missed out Nitro up north
as well,
which is the weekend after.
Let's cover it. So we got the NDRC, the Nitro Funny Car Top Fuel Championship round, and the Aeroflow All Stars round happening at Sydney Dragway on the 23rd of August.
Yep.
Following that weekend would be the 28th.
It'll be
so probably the 27th, 27th through to the 29th with the Nitro up north in Darwin.
Yep.
Followed closely by the Red Centre Nationals in Alice Springs on the 5th until the 7th of September.
Yep, weekend after down in Alice Springs. And then it's Targa West over here, the 18th to the 21st of September 2025 as well. So there's a bit coming up, even though it's winter. As we progress our way out of winter, there's some really exciting things coming up.
But I also thought as well that I would just mention we had the WADRA Awards Night on the weekend, just on Saturday past.
Yep.
And it was an absolutely fantastic event. Nosh Catering, my gosh, amazing. I filled up 2 plates intending on dishing them to Luna and Cleo, and I think I ate the 2 plates myself. And the red velvet cake afterwards, my gosh. But Chris Locke was the MC for the event, and he did such a phenomenal job. You know, I always love hearing him speak at the track. That's our Motorplex track chaplain for those that don't know. He's been working closely with Terry for the last couple of seasons, but Terry, he did have some health conditions that disrupted him from attending all events last season, and so we saw and heard a lot more of Chris. He did an absolutely amazing job emceeing the event, and of course their WADRA committee did an amazing job of putting the event on. It was fantastic. A huge thank you to WADRA and all they do for our drag racing community. But I wanted to share with you, Nick, as well, that I had some really great feedback about our podcast by some of the WADRA members there.
Cool.
That came up and said that
Thank
they
you
love
very much.
tuning in and listening to us. And I just thought that was really great to hear. And I appreciate it. You know, we appreciate hearing the feedback because
we do.
It gives us drive and it lets us know which direction to go in and to make sure that we're covering the news and all the updates that you want to be hearing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, look, thank you everyone from WADRA. I wasn't part of WADRA. I was part of WASMA back in the day, and I was on the committee for some time as well.
Oh.
So I have fond memories of WASMA back in the day.
Well, it's all combined now, so the two have become one. And it's really great. You know, you've got your awards for your runner-up and champion of each bracket, but then they've also got some inaugural and annual awards that they run through there as well, like the Mona Catavartis Club Member Award and Rookie of the Year and other things like that. It was really, really nice. It was really great.
Well, thanks for that feedback. That's really appreciate that, and it's great to hear. All right, Michelle. Well, look, I think we'll bring this one to an end. Anything else?
Fabulous. No, I think I talked enough to cover my share as well as Simon's.
Yep. All right. Well, look, we'll do this all again in a couple of weeks' time. If you have any questions or share us around with a friend as well. Share us on social media, wherever you get your podcast from, we're there. So, and if you're listening on 88.5 FM, I will be at the Bunnings Sausage Sizzle on the 19th of July. Come down and say hello at Bunnings in Ellenbrook. I will be there from 10 to 12 on the griller. I think that's where they're going to deploy me, on the griller.
Beautiful.
Doesn't really worry me where they deploy me.
Oh, that's the place to be.
Yeah. Anyways, that'll be on the 19th of July from 10 till 12. But come down any time. Don't just come down because I'm there. But 88.5 FM. Come down and say hello. All right, Michelle. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Take care.